Tonight's story is called The Voice in My Scope, written by Dead Air. So turn the lights off, get comfortable, and enjoy the tape. I don't hunt alone anymore. That's usually the first thing I tell people when this story comes up. Not that I stopped hunting, I didn't. I still hunt hogs. I still own the same rifle. I still have the thermal scope. Actually, the scope is sitting in my gun safe right now. Fully charged, zeroed, ready. I just don't take it into the woods by myself. People assume I got attacked by a hog. That's reasonable. If you've never seen a feral hog up close, you probably imagine a fat little pink pig running around in mud. That's not what they are. A full-grown boar can weigh several hundred pounds. They're fast. They're aggressive when cornered. And they'll tear through crops, fences, garbage, small animals. Pretty much anything they can put in their mouths. They're a problem where I live. A serious one. That's why our state is pretty relaxed about hunting them. Night hunting is legal in certain areas. Thermal optics are legal. Landowners will practically thank you for showing up with a rifle. I'd been hunting hogs for almost 15 years when this happened. I knew the woods. I knew animal behavior. I knew the difference between a deer walking through brush and a hog digging through leaves. I knew what coyotes sounded like, bobcats, foxes, owls, raccoons fighting over garbage. I've heard animals make sounds that would scare the hell out of people who don't spend time outdoors. So understand something before I continue. When I tell you, I don't know what I heard that night, I mean it. My name is Daniel Cross. I was 39 when this happened. My wife bought me the thermal scope for our anniversary. Well, that's what she tells people. Technically, she gave me $600 and said, "Buy whatever stupid hunting thing you've been staring at for the last 4 months." I added another $1,400. She still doesn't know that part. The scope cost more than the rifle. Worth every penny. At least that's what I thought. The first night I took it out, I went to a section of public land about 40 minutes north of my house. I'm not giving the exact location. You can call me paranoid. I don't care. The property was huge, thousands of acres. Old logging roads cut through sections of hardwood forest, with large open fields scattered between them. I'd hunted there before. Hog sign everywhere, tracks, rooting, mud rubbed against trees. A buddy of mine named Eric had taken a 200-pound boar there the previous season. It was the perfect place to test the scope. I arrived a little after 9, parked near an old maintenance gate, walked maybe 1.5 miles into the property, then set up near the edge of a clearing. The first 3 hours were boring. That's hunting. People watch hunting videos and think, animals just walk in front of you every 15 minutes. Most of hunting is sitting quietly and thinking about every bad financial decision you've ever made. I watched 6 deer, 2 raccoons, something I think was a fox. No hogs. Around midnight, I moved. There was another clearing farther east, smaller, surrounded by thick woods. I'd seen hog tracks there during daylight. The walk took about 20 minutes. That's when I noticed the silence. I know, that's a horror movie cliché. The woods went silent. People always say that, but there's a reason they say it. The woods are never actually quiet. Even when you think they're quiet, something is moving. Leaves shift, insects buzz, birds adjust themselves in trees, small animals dig. You hear life. That night, about halfway to the second clearing, everything stopped. Not slowly. 1 second I could hear crickets, then nothing. I stopped walking, listened, nothing. I remember whispering, "That's weird. I should have turned around." Instead, I kept going, because I'm an idiot. I reached the clearing around 12:30, set my pack down, got comfortable, started scanning. Nothing. The thermal scope showed trees, grass, rocks still holding heat from the day, but no animals. I scanned left. Nothing. Right. Nothing. Behind me. Nothing. 20 minutes passed, then 40. At 1:17 in the morning, I saw the first heat signature. It was near the northern tree line, low to the ground. I immediately thought, hog. My heart started pounding. Finally. I adjusted the focus. The shape moved behind a tree. I waited. It appeared again. Still low, still moving. I estimated maybe 120 yards. I raised the rifle slightly, watched. Something felt wrong. The legs were too long. I couldn't understand what I was looking at. For a second, I thought it might be two animals overlapping. Then it stood up. I lowered the rifle. What the fuck? It was a person, a man. At least I think it was male. He was thin, not normal thin. His body looked stretched, long arms, narrow chest. His head seemed too small for his shoulders. Thermal imaging doesn't show detail the way a normal camera does. You see heat, shape, movement. So I couldn't see his face. But I could see enough to know he wasn't wearing clothes. I immediately thought drugs, meth, somebody having a psychotic episode. Maybe he'd been camping illegally. Maybe he'd gotten lost. I didn't know. What I did know was that I had a loaded rifle pointed in his direction. So I lowered it. That's important. People always ask why I didn't shoot. Because you can't shoot someone for being weird. I don't care how scary they look. I don't care if they're naked in the woods at 1 a.m. You don't get to kill somebody because they make you uncomfortable. I watched him. He dropped back down, not onto his knees, onto his hands and feet. His stomach faced the ground. His knees never touched. He moved forward, fast, then stopped. He reached toward the base of a tree, touched something, then brought his hand toward his face. I adjusted the zoom. He was smelling his fingers. I recognized the tree. I'd walked past it, maybe 30 minutes earlier. I felt something cold move through my stomach. The man touched the tree again, smelled his hand, then turned his head toward the path I'd taken. He started following it. My path. I told myself that was impossible. He couldn't know where I'd walked. Maybe he saw footprints. Maybe he heard me earlier. Maybe... A scream came from the woods. A woman. "Hello!" I nearly jumped out of my skin. The man stopped. I stopped. "Is someone there?" The voice sounded far away. Maybe 200 yards, maybe more. I looked through the scope. The naked man hadn't moved. I lowered the rifle, listened. "Please!" Definitely a woman. She sounded terrified. My first thought was that she'd encountered the man. Maybe she'd been hiking. Maybe he attacked her. I reached for my radio. No signal, phone, 1 bar. I started dialing 911. Then the woman screamed again. "Please don't leave me!" I froze, not because of what she said, because I was looking through the thermal scope when she said it. I was looking directly at the naked man. His body moved, his chest compressed, his throat shifted. "Please don't leave me!" The woman's voice came out of him. I don't know how else to explain it. I saw his body make the sound. The voice wasn't behind him. It wasn't another person. It was him. I forgot about the phone, forgot about 911, forgot about hogs. I just watched. The man lowered his head. For maybe 10 seconds he didn't move. Then he said, "Hello." Same woman's voice. Exactly the same. Same pitch. Same fear. Same little shake at the end. Is someone there? He paused. Please. Another pause. Please don't leave me. Then he started over. Hello? Same timing, same words, same pauses. Like a recording. I felt every hair on my arm stand up. He wasn't calling for help. He was repeating something he'd heard. I slowly reached for my pack. The buckle clicked against my water bottle. The sound was tiny, barely anything. The man stopped speaking. I stopped moving. Through the scope, I watched his head rise. He turned, directly toward me, 120 yards. Trees between us. Darkness. I hadn't used a flashlight. I hadn't spoken. He looked straight at me, then he said, "Hello." But this time, the voice was different. Male. I knew the voice. It was mine. I couldn't breathe. Is someone there? My voice, coming from him. I'd said those exact words earlier that evening, at the maintenance gate. There'd been a truck parked near mine when I arrived. I thought someone was sitting inside. I'd called out, "Hello, is someone there?" No answer. I'd shrugged and walked away. The truck was empty when I looked inside. At least I thought it was. The thing in the woods repeated my voice. "Hello." I stood. I don't remember deciding to. My body just moved. The figure rose with me. I lifted my rifle. He tilted his head. I shouted, "Stay the fuck back." The woods echoed. The man remained still. Then, in my voice, "Stay the fuck back." My hands started shaking. "Don't come any closer." His head tilted the other direction. "Don't come any closer." Perfect. Not close. Not similar. Perfect. I fired into the dirt 10 feet in front of him. The shot exploded through the clearing. Birds erupted from trees somewhere behind me. The figure dropped. I thought I'd hit him. I hadn't. He landed on all fours. His head stayed up, watching me. "Stay back," I screamed. He screamed it too. "Stay back." Louder. "Stay back." Again. "Stay back." Again. Each time my voice sounded worse. Stretched. Distorted. Like someone learning how loud a human throat could go. I backed toward the trail. The figure moved forward. I aimed center mass. "Stop." It stopped. I took another step. It took another step. I stopped. It stopped. We stared at each other. Then I realized something. It wasn't watching the rifle. It was watching my legs. I stepped left. Its head followed my feet. Right. Same thing. It was waiting for me to run. That realization scared me more than anything else, because predators understand running. I kept the rifle raised, walked backward, slow. One step, then another. The figure remained still. I reached the trail, another step. Then the woman screamed again, behind me. "Please don't leave me." Every instinct in my body told me to turn around. I didn't. The figure in my scope opened its mouth. "Please don't leave me." I kept moving. Then another voice came from my right. A child. "Help me." I swung the scope. Nothing. Back to the figure, still there. A man's voice came from the left. "Hey!" Another from behind. "Wait!" Woman. "Please, child. I'm scared." The voices surrounded me, but every time I looked through the scope, there was only one heat signature. The man, standing at the edge of the clearing. I reached the trees. Then I ran. I know I just said, predators understand running. I didn't care anymore. Branches hit my face. My pack bounced against my shoulders. I held the rifle against my chest and ran harder than I had in years. Behind me, I heard movement. Fast. Leaves tearing, branches snapping. Then my own voice screamed through the woods, "Stay the fuck back!" Closer. I ran. "Stay the fuck back!" Closer. I looked behind me through the scope. Nothing. I turned forward, kept running. Then something laughed. Not a human laugh, not exactly. It sounded like 6 or 7 people laughing at slightly different times. I could see the maintenance gate, my truck, maybe 50 yards. I pulled the keys from my pocket. The lights flashed. Behind me. Hello! 20 yards away. I didn't look. I reached the truck, opened the door, threw myself inside, locked it, rifle across my lap. I started the engine. Headlights came on. Nothing stood in the road. I put the truck in reverse, then stopped. There was writing in the dirt on my driver's side window. 4 lines, dragged through the dust with fingers. Hello, is someone there? Please don't leave me. I stared at it. Then something tapped the passenger window. Once. I turned. Nothing. Another tap. Driver's side. Nothing. Then the roof. Tap, tap, tap. I hit the gas. I don't remember most of the drive home. I remember checking the mirrors. I remember nearly running a stop sign. I remember pulling into my driveway at 3 in the morning and sitting in the truck until my wife came outside. She asked why I was bleeding. I hadn't realized branches had cut my face. I told her I'd fallen. For 2 years, that's what I told everyone. I fell, got spooked, probably saw a sick person, maybe somebody living in the woods, maybe drugs, mental illness. I had explanations, bad explanations, but explanations. I stopped hunting that property. My friends noticed. One of them, Eric, joked that the hogs had finally scared me. I let him believe that. Then, last November, Eric called me. 2 in the morning, I answered half asleep. He didn't say hello. He said, Daniel, I'm at the North property. I sat up. What? The place you won't hunt. I was already out of bed. Get in your truck. He laughed nervously. Man, relax. Eric, get in your fucking truck. Silence. Then he whispered, There's a woman out here. My stomach dropped. What is she saying? Long pause. She says she's lost. I closed my eyes. Eric, can you see her? No. Do you have thermal? Another pause. Yeah. Look. I heard him moving, his breathing, the faint electronic beep of his scope. Then nothing. Eric? He whispered. Jesus Christ. What do you see? It's a guy. I couldn't speak. Eric's breathing got faster. Daniel, get in your truck. He's naked. Eric. He's on the ground. Get in your truck. The phone went quiet. Then I heard Eric's voice. Not through the phone. In the background of the call. Far away. Get in your truck. Eric whispered. What the fuck? His voice came again from the woods. Get in your truck. I screamed at him. Run. The call ended. Eric survived. He doesn't hunt alone anymore either. We went back during daylight 2 days later. 4 of us. Armed. His sitting pad was still there. His water bottle. 1 boot. Around the tree, bare footprints circled his position. Dozens of them, every one identical. Same length, same width, same damaged little toe on the left foot. 1 person walking in circles for hours. We followed the prints half a mile to an old logging road where they just stopped. Next to a truck. Not mine. The one I'd seen parked beside me the night I first walked in. Rusted through, flat tires, vines growing through the engine block. It hadn't moved in years. The sheriff ran the plate. It belonged to a woman named Rebecca Hall, who disappeared 9 years before my hunting trip. Her vehicle had never been recovered. She was 26. She'd called her mother the night she vanished, said she'd gotten lost. Then she said something else, something her mother repeated to police word for word. Rebecca said, "There's a man out here." And then, "He keeps asking if someone is there." I still hunt hogs. just not there. Eric doesn't either. Nobody in our group does. We never agreed to avoid the property. We just stopped mentioning it. Sometimes somebody suggests a night hunt. There's always another location, another field, another farmer with hog problems. Anywhere but there. I kept the thermal scope. People ask why. I tell them it cost too much to throw away. That's partly true. The real reason is simpler. The first time I saw that thing, I had an advantage. The dark hid me from normal eyes, and the scope showed me exactly where it was. At least, that's what I believed. 3 weeks ago, I was cleaning the rifle. The scope was attached. I turned it on, just checking the battery. I pointed it toward my backyard, my fence, the shed, the tree line behind the house. There was a heat signature standing between the trees. Low to the ground. I stopped breathing. The figure stood, tall, thin. I watched it. It watched me. Then I heard my wife's voice from downstairs. "Danny." She's the only one who calls me that. I almost answered. Through the thermal scope, the figure opened its mouth. "Danny." Her voice, from the woods, exactly the way she says it. That same soft drop on the second syllable she's used for 15 years. Then the real woman downstairs called, "Who are you talking to?" I lowered the rifle. When I looked through the scope again, the trees were empty. I haven't told my wife. I haven't told Eric. I don't know if it followed me home. I don't know if there are more of them. I don't know if it remembers my voice. But every night before I go to sleep, I check the backyard with the thermal scope. Most nights there's nothing. Last night I heard someone near the fence. A man, quiet, scared, calling into the dark. "Hello? Is someone there?" It was my voice, and this time my thermal scope couldn't find him. Hope you enjoyed another dark story from Dead Air. But before you disappear into the dark, we have a question for you. Have you ever remembered something that you were certain had never happened? Maybe it started with a dream that felt too real, a familiar place you've never been, a face you somehow recognized, even though you'd never met them. Or maybe someone told you a story about your childhood, and you realized you couldn't remember any of it. Tell us your story down in the comments, because the mind has a strange way of protecting itself. Some memories fade, some become distorted, and some are buried so deeply you don't even know they're there, until something or someone brings them back. Who knows? Your experience might inspire a future tape here on VHS After Midnight. Until next time, some memories are forgotten for a reason. Be careful what you try to remember.